Hey, what's up? This is Chosen. This is going to be your Raid Shadow Legends recap heading into this weekend. We will get you all caught up on the 10x event that's going on because it's going to be a different one. There's going to be more champions, and then they're also trying a new form of summoning event. So I will get you everything you need to know, and then we'll go over the things going on in game, grade the offers, and all the usual stuff. So let's get into it. Alrighty, and then also, as of today, April 8th, I'm excited to announce that I am partnering up with G Fuel, and down below in a pinned comment and also in the video description, there is a link. If you want to check out their stuff, you get a big discount using promo code CHOSEN. I went ahead and started with, obviously, the Ice Shatter, Mortal Kombat 11. I start every stream with the Mortal Kombat theme music. It just made perfect sense. So I'm excited about that. And if you want to check it out, that'll be down below. You get a big discount using promo code CHOSEN. But let's go ahead and talk about this 10x because I think this is a pretty crazy one featuring lots of good champions and then also a new type of summoning mechanic. And by the way, do not take this video as the event launching. You're going to want to wait until you see the aesthetic in the portal. And you will also see when you click on the eye, it will usually show the champions in the 10x down here in that empty space. And then also a pseudo countdown typically is this event right here, the Champion Chase Tournament. Right now, as of me recording the video, it says 17 hours and 50 minutes. You can check that clock. That is basically a pseudo countdown typically, but definitely check the eye to make sure the champions are alive if you're going to pull shards. But the champions involved in this are going to be Varask, Doom Priest, Basher, Inquisitor Shamel, Golden Reaper, Altan, Septimus, Martyr, Bad El-Khazar, and Angar. So now let's go ahead and go over all of these champions really quickly, just to give you a quick synopsis on them. Then I'll give you my thoughts on the extra legendary event that's going to be coinciding with this. So first, we've got Varask featured in this event, and Varask is an absolutely amazing champion for Faction Wars. He's got big heals, part of the passive here. He's going to stack a bunch of HP, and as long as he is critical hitting, he's going to heal 10% of his max HP. So he's a great support champion, and he's very crucial for Orc Faction Wars. Then Doom Priest, honestly, isn't that different. We've got lots of heals coming from the passive, and she is absolute S tier for Faction Wars on Night Revenant. I used both Varask and Doom Priest in my endgame level 21 Faction Wars teams for both of them. And Doom Priest is actually pretty insane in a lot of different scenarios in the Doom Tower because she also gets the cleanse, the remove one random debuff from them at the start of this champion's turn. You get her in high speed, maybe even relentless or something, you're going to get lots of heals and debuff cleansing. So Varask and Doom Priest, definitely good ones to get us started here. Then Basher, an epic from the Skinwalkers, is also a very solid epic champion who brings loss to the table. An A1 is going to be placing Weaken. The A2 is going to increase cooldown of target skills. And then we've also got a block buffs, which can be absolutely crucial against those Valkyries in Faction Wars. And then he gets an all-battle 25% HP aura. So Basher, definitely solid. Inquisitor is a newer release to Raid coming out within the last few months or so, and he is a big-time single-target nuker. I've even heard of people using this guy up in Platinum Arena. The A2 here is going to be a triple hitter that can ignore a bunch of defense, place a true fear debuff on all enemies for one turn, and if it gets a kill, which is going to do a lot because it is a hard-hitting single target that ignores a bunch of defense. Then Golden Reaper is the fifth and last epic that I'm going to cover in this 10x. And on paper, Golden Reaper is insane. I don't see Golden Reaper get used as much as I would think that she would. But we've got an A1 that decreases the cooldown of one random ally skills. The A2 is going to be an AoE that breaks attack. And then it's going to also decrease the turn meter of each target if they do not get that decreased attack. And then the Alacrity here on the A3 is going to be a 3-turn cooldown, increased speed buff on all allies, and boost their turn meters. So you couple that with the base stats that are really good, 18.5 HP, 936 defense, 111 base speed. Golden Reaper on paper seems like a pretty solid epic. Now let's move into the legendaries, and we'll talk about one of the few non-void legacy legendaries that I do not have. It's going to be champions like Altan, Mashaled, Biggin. There's about 6 or 7 of those legacy non-voids that I wasn't able to get ever. Altan is one of them, but we used to see this guy used a lot because he's got a very generally useful kit, especially somewhere like a boss fight or a clan boss type scenario. The A1 is going to break attack. The A2 is going to increase defense on all allies and place a shield if he gets a kill. Then the passive here is going to revive a random ally each time the champion kills an enemy. We used to see this guy used a lot in like the mid-game arena. And then he also gets an aura of 33% ally defense in all battles. So gonna be very good versus boss fights, maybe early mid-game arena, and also obviously for faction wars. Then we move into Septimus. I love this guy. Septimus is such a fun one to have. He's a big-time nuker, big-time damage dealer, and he can fit into a lot of fun situations in the Doom Tower, faction wars, speed running in the Spider, lots of cool things. This Holy Sword is one of the hardest hitting abilities in the game. It scales with enemy max HP. It will also ignore shield and block damage, so you can use this guy in the Spider to just crank out millions of damage. Couple it with the passive, where he's going to do 30% increase duration of all debuffs on the target by 1 turn. And then also damage inflicted of each attack increases by that 30%, that same number, if the enemy's current HP is over 50%. So I will show you my Spider team just to show you what this guy is capable of. I make sure that he goes first because remember that passive, he's going to deal extra damage. But look at some of this insane stuff that Septimus can do. So we pop this on here. I'll make sure the Ghostborn breaks the defense first. Then both my Septimus will hit while that passive is up, and we're above the half HP. We go boom, boom, and then the Royal Guards are going to clean it up. But that is some of the cool stuff that Septimus can do with that hard-hitting Holy Sword. The A1 also is going to keep snowballing kind of like a Relic Keeper as long as he gets a kill with that A1. So Septimus definitely a fun legendary to have. Then we move into Martyr. Now, the calling card for Martyr is going to obviously be the Bastion of Faith, which is going to be a big increased defense buff on the whole team and counterattack on all allies for 3 turns. So this is a very rare mechanic. You've got champions like Skullcrusher, Martyr, Valkyrie that are filling this team-wide, or I guess Skullcrusher isn't team-wide, but ally counterattack on a 3-turn cooldown, but she's also going to bring the increased defense, and then she's also got the suppression ability. Now, lots of people underestimate this. She hits super hard with the suppression, and it also does attack, break, and provoke. We can get that book down to a 4-turn cooldown, and she's also going to be breaking defense on the A1 along with an all-battle defense aura. So Martyr, an amazing legendary. Back in the day, like in Legacy Raid Shadow Legends on my first tier list, I had her rated as the #1 legendary in the game. That has changed a little bit with new champions that come out and the way the game has aged and shifted. She's not rated #1 anymore, but at one point I did have her rated #1 in the game. Then we've got Angar. Now, Angar is a lot better than people think. The A1 here is going to place an extra hit if they're under a provoke, so not super game-changing, but he does scale his damage with HP, which is very cool. Anytime we can get tanky champions that scale their damage with defense and HP, going to make them very sturdy. The A2 here is going to be an AoE provoke, and then it's also going to place reflect damage on all allies for 2 turns, which can be super impactful in the arena. You're going against Skull Crowns, AoE nuker type stuff. I'll also place a counterattack on this champion, so he'll run in and do some extra damage every time he gets hit. And then we've got a passive here that if an enemy with a provoke debuff attacks, a 40% chance that you can book up to 50 of placing the provoke debuff on them for 1 turn. So you can kind of keep those provokes just snowballing and keep going. And then each hit taken will reduce the damage up to 5%. And you can stack that to 30% in 1 round. So he'll be very, very tanky. Then we've got the Faction Crypts, 44% ally HP. One of the bigger auras we're going to see in terms of percent of 44. So he can also be very crucial in the Orc Faction Crypts. And then last, but definitely not least, we get the channel art for my channel, my favorite champion, Bad El-Khazar. Fun little side story back in the day. Plarium was going to do a fun little marketing thing where they made us as champions in Raid for Stu Gaming, Darth Microtransaction, Kizzle, and myself. And when they asked me if I had any input on who I wanted to be put as in the game, I was like, oh, easy decision, Bad El-Khazar, 100%. So super cool. I'm really happy with how that came out, and I used that avatar as my channel art. I loved it so much. So fun little side story there on why Bad El is my favorite champion. The first night that I downloaded Raid, I was going through the champion index, and that was the first champion that caught my eye. I was just kind of going through, clicking on these arrows, just kind of going through and looking at all the champions, and that was the one that I kind of stopped on. But he's also an amazing champion to boot, not just aesthetically. You've got the AoE A1 that's going to heal all allies on 20% of damage inflicted. Now, it's not going to be big heals, but it is an AoE A1, which is always fun. But Bad El was known for the A2 here. It's going to be an AoE cleanse on all allies, and it's also going to place 2 of the continuous heals, and it's going to place poisons on all enemies for 2 turns. You can book that to a 3-turn cooldown. And then his passive is going to make the whole team inflict 20% more damage to targets under poison, which he's going to be doing himself with the poisons that he does with the Malice A2. And then he's got the crit rate aura here just to boot, with good base stats of the over 20k HP, 1156 defense, 102 base speed, and then he's also got 60 of base resistance and accuracy. So Battle, a very sturdy, very fun, very generally useful, aesthetically amazing champion in the game. And now we also need to talk about this duo event they're going to be doing. It's going to have a different type of summoning event they're going to be trying out alongside the 10x with those champions that I just went over. So I'm going to pull up word for word so that I make sure that you get the accurate information. This is what Plarium said to me. And a brand new type of event, which they're calling an extra legendary event. The algorithm is simple. If you summon a legendary champion from an ancient shard during this event, so it doesn't look like it's going to be from sacreds or voids, it says ancient shard, you will get a different extra one from that shard. So if you summon a legendary, it's not necessarily a 2x, but it's going to be kind of functioning like a pseudo 2x. So you're not going to have double the odds, but if you do summon a legendary, you're going to get an extra one to boot. And from here, it says ancient shard. It will work only once per event. So once you get that effect to proc once, you can't do it again. So you're not going to be able to like pull a legendary and get 2, then pull a legendary and get 2, then pull, like, it's going to happen once, and then that effect is going to be done for. You won't be charged silver for the extra summon, although keep in mind, the extra champion won't be counted towards quests, events, or tournaments, and won't reset your mercy system counters. So okay, I'm all for trying new stuff. That's exciting. Let's keep new things coming to the game, new mechanics, especially to spice up these 10x events, because they seem to have a lot less hype, a lot less community interaction as compared to the 2x's. So I'm all for trying new type of stuff. I would love to hear what you guys think about this event down in the comment section, because I enjoy forwarding that information to Plarium and reading what you guys say as well when it comes to trying new stuff in Raid. But okay, wrapping up all of that, what is my thoughts on this 10x? This is one of the more promising 10x's they've done. Not only do we have 10 champions in it, and a lot of them are very good champions. You've got people like Septimus, Battle Khazar, Martyr, Varask, Doom Priest, lots of very crucial champions to have on your account. So this is definitely a fun 10x. And then we've also got the new type of summoning event from Ancient Shards, where you're going to get an extra legendary to boot if you're going for like that Battle or that Martyr or something. So this is one of the rare situations where I would probably recommend maybe pulling during this event. But I do want to make sure and let you know, remember, we've got that big fusion for that dwarf coming up in 4 or 5 days, so you're going to want to manage your resources accordingly. It's going to be an old school type fusion where we're doing events to acquire rares. The rares fuse into the epics fuse into the dwarf. And then if you want a quick refresher course on that dwarf, this is what it's going to look like starting in 4 or 5 days. And there is the kit. It's going to be an amazing champion that we are all going to want on our account. So you're going to have to ask yourself how many shards you want to spend during this before the dwarf fusion, because admittedly it's a little bit of a tough decision that's going to come down to you. It's going to come down to your account, your spending tier, how confident you are in going for the dwarf, if you're going to be going for the dwarf or not, and then the champions that are involved in the 10x. So a lot of nuance going on here this weekend heading into next week because of the dwarf fusion and then how crazy this 10x is. So it's hard for me to give you one standardized guideline because there's a lot that goes into this decision. But there's the aesthetics of the dwarf launching next week, and then a refresher course on the kit. If you wanted to look at that, I'll leave that up just for a couple seconds here. But I will also be going over this stuff live on stream. I'll be live for a few hours right after this video launches. So if you're watching this right away, down below in a pinned comment, you can come chill and we'll be talking about all this stuff. So okay, deep breath. lots to cover there, lots going on. Let's get you caught up on some of the stuff going on in game. Remember to keep an eye on the Ice Golem tournament. It's going to be ending today, so keep an eye on your group. You've got at least get the core hammers here, and then you've got an epic book up there if you need that on the right. And then also the classic arena takedown and the champion chase tournament are going to be starting tomorrow, basically coinciding with the 10x craziness that is going on this weekend. Then let's dive into the events, get you caught up here. We've got champion training ending in 2 days. I haven't been going hard on this one. I've been waiting and holding off saving some of my champ training stuff until that dwarf fusion is going to be, I'm sure there'll be some champ training stuff during that dwarf fusion. So I'm kind of getting ready for that with some 3 stars and 4 stars at level 40 and preparing to go hard when that one launches. And then we've also got the artifact enhancement event that is ending today. You will want to at least get to 1,000 right here to scoop up the corner hammers. And then also we have an ancient shard at 5,600. And then worth noting in this video that the next 2x is going to be 4 ancient shards. And then if they go by the normal rotation, that should be in about 8 days. And that segues me into the offers. You can always see that if you're ever curious. On my offer sheet, down at the bottom right there, you can see the 2x rotation. Ancient Sacred Void. Ancient Sacred Void. We just had 2x voids last weekend, which means next in the rotation, it'll restart after the voids. It'll wrap around back to ancients, which should be in about 8 days, like I said. But okay, is there anything big to go over here? We're gonna want to be careful about our spending. We may get some fun offers on shards during the 10x. You may want to wait until we get some ancient shards in offers because of the next rotation coming up for the ancients during the 2x if they go by the standard. And then we've also got that big fusion launching in 4 or 5 days where you may want to have some of your budget available. So I'm only gonna recommend, I don't really see anything really worth plugging in. Like some of this stuff would be decent for prepping for, I mean, I guess I'll do it real quick. Why not? Let's get the layout. If just in case you're curious, it only takes me a couple seconds. Let's plug it in. But I just want to make sure I'm pointing out that you should be careful right now because we've got a lot of stuff launching coming up soon here. 25 million. Okay, so 1.81. Yeah. Especially if it's gonna be like not in the excellent tier, I would probably hold off. That's towards the bottom of the good tier there. The great deal mix, this one's at least interesting. You've got legendary books and stuff. So let's see, 1.5, energy of 750. And if you do buy some of the stuff like the energy and energy refills and type things, you may want to hold off until some of those events during that fusion. What is that? That's 60 of the brews. And then we've got 7 and 2, 2.24. Okay. Oh, and I'm gonna have to. So I changed the algorithm on my my calculator. I used to have the excellent, the teal tier be 2.0. I changed it to 2.25 to be just a little bit more picky about that stuff. But it looks like it's grading it as excellent. I'll have to look at that algorithm and see why that is. But either way, 2.24 is actually not bad. It's pretty decent. But there is no shards or anything, so you're gonna have to weigh how, like, if the epic books and the legendary books are both important to you right now, and then you can save some of that energy and silver for some of the fusion stuff going on. Not a horrible offer, not one I would super jump on or recommend, but it's at least decent. Mini mix and 6-star. No, we're not gonna buy the 6-star. The mini mix, we already kind of know what that is. Another thing one of my viewers brought up that I missed was I don't see the monthly pack. I think this is the first month since I started playing Raid that we don't have that legacy monthly pack, unless it's just not showing up for my account or some of you out there. But remember, we used to get that like $50 monthly pack where it would say you have 4 weeks to decide, and it had like some of each shard and just some random utility stuff for Raid. But I don't see, this is the first month, April 2021, where I haven't seen that $50 monthly offer come through. So just something interesting to take note of. But that's gonna wrap it up for this one. I know we had a lot to cover, but that's always exciting. Lots of fun stuff going on here in the next week or so with the dwarf launching, this crazy 10x, the extra legendary from legendaries acquired from ancient shard. Remember, that only happens once and then it's done. So lots of different things happening. The 2x ancients launching next weekend, hopefully. So hopefully we got you all caught up. And if you're watching this right away, there's a link down below to a pinned comment where you can come hang out on stream, and we'll be hanging out doing quizzes and giveaways and chatting about all this different stuff going on in Raid. So that'll do it for this one. As always, thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.